Welcome back. Well, it's clear Labor's pathological obsession with big spending isn't going anywhere. We learned today that the federal government's total borrowings figure is due to hit the $1 trillion mark in the next few months alone. Now, this is staggering and something Labor is very keen to sweep under the carpet. Joining me now is Dimitri Burshtein from Eminence Advisory. Dimitri, good to see you again. Thanks you for joining me. We're in debt up to our eyeballs right now. But how do we get to that $1 trillion figure so quickly? It's creeping up.
Well, in 2007, the gross debt was around $54 billion. It's now $962 as at today. That's an average increase of around $50 billion a year for the last 18 years.
Jeez.
How did we do it? But very simply, spent more than the government spent more than we earned. But don't forget, it's not just you're just quoting the Commonwealth debt. There's the state and territory debt. Add another $600 billion on top of that.
That's just ridiculous. Well, I mean, where is it coming from? I know the NDIS is the biggest problem, but what is it?
It's very simple. It's just the government policy is slowing down the economy. Economic growth is slow. Productivity's in the bathroom.
Yeah.
We're just growing slowly and spending too much. There's a big shift from the private sector to the public sector. The Commonwealth is around 27% of the GDP at the moment. It was 22% under Hawke, Keating and Walsh many years ago. 5%, that translates into another about $120 billion of spending in today's dollars.
I mean, it's just out of control. And obviously they had that talk fest, this economic roundtable. And Jim Chalmers has already indicated that the only way that he's going to be able to rein in this spending is to raise taxes. There's this big tax reform agenda. Not that we know much about it, Dimitri. They're keeping it under wraps. But, I mean, higher taxes, what is this going to mean? How do you see this playing out, do you think?
A further slowing of the economy. And it's not just a slowing of the economy because businesses aren't forming. The next generation of human capital, the young folks who are going to start the businesses, grow the businesses, they're going to leave. They're going to leave and leave their HECS liability to the rest of us. They're going to take their skills and their imagination to another country that doesn't have the housing problems that we have, the policy-driven housing problems we have, that doesn't have the taxes they have, and they'll just leave their HECS liabilities for the rest of us to pay.
So if they do raise taxes, it's been foreshadowed, we know this. Is it really going to have any tangible impact on debt?
No, because they're still spending faster than.
Yeah.
I mean, raising tax rates does not necessarily raise tax revenue. If you have a look at the debacle that is the tobacco excise, they keep raising rates and the revenue keeps falling. There's a concept that came out, from the 1980s, from Reagan's White House, the Laffer curve. It shows that there is a point beyond which, if you keep raising rates, revenue will decline because people just change their behaviour. So people will just stop investing. People will just stop working. The incentives are going to go.
Do you think that fiscal restraint wins elections anymore? Because coalition governments, they've been historically rewarded for actually balancing the books. These days, people are going, oh, well, I get a handout. That's all that matters. So do you think it makes a difference?
Not at the moment, but just wait. I mean, I don't think we're that far off from a credit downgrade. The Australian government is one of the few countries in the world that has a AAA credit rating. People will try to give us false comfort by saying, oh, but our debt to GDP is not as high as other countries, but they tend to quote the worst examples like Japan and the United States. Australia is a small trade-exposed economy. They don't include the state debt in those figures. And so what will happen is, at some point, it's not going to happen tomorrow, it's not going to happen next month, but on current trajectory, it'll happen. Our government's credit rating will be cut, which means that interest rates on government debt will go up. At the moment, we're paying about $25 billion a year in interest on the debt.
Wow.
By the end of the forward estimates, it'll be $42 billion. The fastest growing line item in the budget is not NDIS, it's interest. It's growing at around 13 to 14% per annum. And that'll just go higher and that'll just eat up more of the budget. And it won't just stop at the government, it'll wash through the economy because the Australian banks, their credit ratings are linked because of the implicit government guarantee. So their cost of money will go up, which will wash through to mortgage payments and to business loans. It'll just effectively...
It's like a flow-on effect.
A flow-on effect. So, we're on a trajectory to a lot of pain unless there is some serious conversations had. The bond markets don't muck around. When they've had enough, they've had enough. And, ask the Argentinians what happens when bond markets refuse to finance them.
Yeah, well, I mean, they had this round table. That was their big talking fest. That was their how we're going to solve the world's problems moment, but clearly not. Dimitri Burshtein, good to see you again. Thanks so much for joining me on the show. Appreciate it.